Hello, everybody. Scott Golden here with Pro Wrestling Logic YouTube channel and the special Tuesday edition of NXT review here for the 1st of September 2020. Preempted originally by, I believe, a hockey game or something such. I don't know that it's still carrying on with the political climate and everything being that it is, but I did watch tonight, and overall a decent show, although I'm not a fan of where we ended up for a variety of reasons. I will be putting up most likely tomorrow, or actually what would be later today, or tomorrow, which would be Thursday, the Impact and AEW Dark reviews when time permits. I also do have a number of about another 5 or 6 of the WCCW reviews that'll be going up overnight tonight or early in the morning. Anyway, so we go into this with the promise of the NXT Championship being recrowned because Karrion Kross is out injured. Also, we learned that NXT will be on Tuesday next week as well due to the NHL playoffs. Wade Barrett, who, now that it is official that Mauro Ranallo has left the company, most likely will be the third person in the booth on the NXT broadcast, welcomes us after the Bullet Barb Armstrong Memorial graphic that they've shown on all 3 shows in the last 7 days. Anyway, we open with Breezango, Tyler Breeze and Fandango, and Isaiah Swerve Scott defeating El Ligero de Fantasma, Santos Escobar, Raul Mendoza, and Jacqueline Wild. Not really a fan of this match, but then I am biased and don't like 6-person matches under most circumstances. I am, however, learning to like them watching World Class. Anyhow, Scott pins Escobar to win the match. I assume that means there will be a light heavyweight match between the two down the road. Babyfaces do dives off of a forklift at some point in this. I mean, I don't know. It seems like they're trying to do crazy no holds barred style stuff just to get people watching, and I don't know that that's the way to go in 2020. This screamed of being 1998 ECW style. I mean, the match was fun, and they do a lot of commercial stuff. Anyway, the heel trio were in street clothes. Baby faces wear their wrestling gear. Doesn't quite make sense. Not sure why everybody can't agree on what to wear to this fight. Heels attack before the bell, and the brawl erupts. Weapons such as chairs, trash cans, tables, oh my, all come into play quickly, and the heels dominate the beginning. Baby faces do make a comeback. Fighting gets into the ring after several minutes of not being in the ring. And, I mean, they brawl all the way around the building before the use of a fire extinguisher, which is just dumb. Babyfaces dance after hitting the run on offense, also dumb. So if I'm in a fight, I'm going to break out the moonwalk? I don't think so. Anyway, so, we move into a commercial break, and we see a triple van Terminator. Breeze gets stuffed into a trash can. Great way to treat your tag team champions. Fandango goes through a table. Escobar does his Phantasma Tope at one point. Marcel Bartel and Fabian Aichner of Imperium run down to the ring. They interfere. The announcers remind us that it's legal for them to do this. And Ligero de Fantasma joins Imperium in attacking. And then a forklift appears out of nowhere, and Fandango and Scott stand on the pallet, and then they're lifted high above the ring. They do flip dives from the forklift onto a pile of bodies, and Tyler Breeze then does a dive of his own. Scott hits a modified Michinoku driver and scores the pinfall over Escobar. Again, I assume this leads to Escobar and Scott somewhere down the road. Candice LeRae defeated Casey Catanzaro with Caden Carter. LeRae pins Catanzaro in a short but competitive match. I'm not sure that Candice needs to be this competitive with someone who doesn't have a clear identity outside of her tag team yet, but they went with it anyway. Catanzaro gets the shine early and gets cut off with a brutal hanging or delayed neckbreaker. Catanzaro rolls outside the ring. Carter tries to help, and then we trade near falls. LeRae begins to work over Catanzaro, and then Catanzaro gets cut off with a comeback in a near fall. LeRae cuts her off and gives her a modified pendulum into a curve stomp and gets the pinfall win. LeRae, in her post-match promo, talks about Tegan Knox basically not being loyal and says that she wasn't that sincere and invites her to dinner so they can talk out their differences. I don't know. Rhea Ripley cuts a really direct promo wanting to end things with Mercedes Martinez, meaning a cage match somewhere down the road. At least that's what things were challenged to. Timothy Thatcher beats Bronson Reed. I really don't like this. I love Thatcher, don't get me wrong, but Reed was on a roll going into the ladder match, and to have him lose here just doesn't make sense to me. I mean, I understand the hierarchy of who your champions are and all this, but meh, I'm not a fan. Anyway, Thatcher gets the submission with an armbar after interference from, of all people, Austin Theory. The match was great until the run-in. Thatcher's always good with mat-related work, surprisingly bringing better than I expected out of Reed. So Reed has some chops as both a technical wrestler and as a big man, which is cool. And then Reed is a definitive monster who gets broken down by Thatcher. Thatcher works the arm the entire match. Thatcher hits some snug and stiff-looking forearms in safe places. Reed does a dive through the ropes with a guy that's 400 pounds. I don't think he should be doing those, but anyway, he does them anyway. Theory runs down to the ring and hits a sneak attack on Reed. Theory jumps Reed, and then that enables good old Thatcher to get the victory. Hopefully, we see some sort of mentor-student relationship between Thatcher and Theory. I think that would be a cool way to go. Mercedes Martinez accepts for the cage match for next week. Then we go to the main event of the evening because they're going an hour, which I don't know if it was an hour or not. I didn't actually clock it. It felt like they shaved maybe 10 minutes, maybe 5 minutes off, but they do go the majority of an hour anyway. Johnny Gargano, Adam Cole, Finn Balor, and Tommaso Ciampa in an Iron Man match for the vacant NXT Championship. I was a fan of the match. The match was great. It was enjoyable. It was wonderful. It was also, I don't know, it was also a letdown because of the finish. But we'll get there when we get there. So, match was awesome. Everybody is all tied up at 1. they do, you know, they do end up with a tie for the victory, but with no sudden death. So we didn't really solve anything. So basically, the four guys out there look like schlubs because no one walked away the champion. Cole and Balor are the ones with 2 falls apiece, so the other 2 guys look lesser. And I suppose that means that Cole and Balor will fight at some point for the championship. Specifically, Regal implies, without a microphone, by the way, that this shall happen next week. So Cole and Balor will determine, will determine the actual winner. I mean, I'm not a fan of the whole tie concept, especially in a unopposed match. I know writers and probably senior executives will say it builds story for next week and it builds intensity for the characters. No, it builds lack of faith from your fan base that you give what you deliver. One thing that Paul Heyman and to a lesser degree Jim Cornette and bookers from the 80s who understood how to draw money understood is you don't not deliver on a stipulation. If you say there's going to be a champion, there has to be a champion. Even if you want to have a controversial finish and you walk away with someone holding the belt and then the following week they demand a rematch or something, that's fine. But somebody should have walked away from this with the championship. So Tommaso Ciampa looks good early. He cleans house early and sends Balor into the guardrail. They knock down the guardrail, and he's taking everybody out. Cole throws Ciampa outside the ring, and Balor goes to work on Cole. Gargano rushes in the ring, cuts him off with a sneak attack. One thing I like about this is that Gargano remains a heel and a sneaky one at that through the entire hour-long match. Bunches of neck breakers and neck-related spots. I don't know who decided to lay the match out, but everybody's neck, in theory, should be in a bunch of pain. Then we see all 4 men down at a point. Tower of Doom from Ciampa to Cole, and Gargano sneaks up behind Ciampa to crotch him on the ring post on the outside at one point. Balor hits the 1916 for a near fall. Balor goes for the coup de grace, but Gargano rolls out of the way. Ciampa catches Balor with an air raid crash for a near fall. The problem with a match like this, especially with 4 guys, is there's no slowing in the pacing. We go to picture-in-picture, and then Cole pulls down the knee pad, sets up for the last shot on Ciampa. Instead, he eats a super kick from Gargano. Man, there was enough super kicks in this to assume that the Bucks had triplets. I think there was at least a dozen super kicks from everybody in the match. Anyway, Ciampa then comes up into an armbar submission on Balor. Cole and Balor square off, and the show returns from commercial break. Cole offers the Too Sweet, the old Bullet Club symbol to Balor. They do return it, and then Cole and Balor were going to formulate, at least in Balor's mind, an alliance, or in Cole's mind, an alliance, but Balor doesn't buy it. And then he throws Cole out of the ring, and Balor hits a dive onto both men on the outside. After a while, Balor runs around the ring, hits Ciampa with a shotgun dropkick, and then sends him flying into the timekeeper's table. They do a good job of keeping this well paced throughout. I will give them credit for that. He leaps off the top with the coup de grace on Cole and scores a the first pinfall of the match. Balor, the first one to score the pin. He takes the lead on the scoreboard 1-0, and he keeps cleaning house after this pinfall. We go to commercial, and Cole goes for the Panama Sunrise. Ciampa counters to deliver his Project Ciampa finish, but Balor breaks up the pin, and then Ciampa hits his finish on Gargano, and Balor again breaks up the pin. So it's clear that Balor, at least for this point of the match, is protecting his lead as one would make sense. And then we go to another commercial. There's an attempted catapult of Cole into the outside of the ring, and then Balor flies through the ropes, hits a wrecking ball to save Cole, and Ciampa executes a Widow's Bell, draping DDT on Balor, and then gave Balor the fairy tale ending finish. Gargano rushes in to break that up, and Gargano stole the pinfall victory, and then Gargano and Balor are now tied officially at 1 fall, and we're more than halfway through the match. Cole hits the last shot on Ciampa, but then he gets kicked out of from that. Ciampa answers back with a Western Lariat. Cole then goes for another of the super kicks in the match. Ciampa and everyone else gets super kicked, and then Cole hits the Panama Sunrise on Gargano, scores a pinfall there. So Cole, Gargano, and Balor have each scored 1 fall apiece, and we're at the about 25-minute mark or so remaining in the match. And then Ciampa hits the doubles Widow's Bell on Gargano and Cole at the same time. Ciampa then delivered a fairy tale ending to Cole and gets his own pinfall. All four have a single pinfall at this point. And then they brawl around for the next several minutes, basically. Nobody gets an advantage. Cole takes out Ciampa and his knee with another super kick. We go to another commercial break. That's the only drawback of doing a Iron Man on television, is it breaks the flow quite a bit. Cole applies a figure 4 during the break. Balor breaks the hold. Balor applies his own version of a figure 4 on Ciampa. Cole back in to break that up and attempted applying his own version on Ciampa, and Ciampa counters with an inside cradle for near fall. Cole kicked out and then applies a figure 4. So figure 4s must be popular. Gargano broke it up to apply for Gargano escape on Ciampa. And then Balor starts throwing a series of chops. And Ciampa buckles selling his knee, which leads to Balor going after the leg. Balor misses a coup de grace and walked into a series of super kicks. We're less than 10 minutes remaining in the contest at this point. Couple of topes from Gargano, and Balor blocks a third of these. He teases the 1916 on the floor, and Gargano counters and hits him with a tornado DDT on the floor. The show goes to its final commercial break. Cole misses a last shot as the show returns from that break and tries the Gargano escape. Doesn't get what he wants from it. Ciampa hits a catapult spot, and it's that catapult into the underside of the ring. And then under 2 minutes remaining, and Ciampa is in control. Under a minute with Ciampa. Avalanche air raid crash on Gargano. Balor flew in with the double stomp on Ciampa. score a pinfall as the clock ticks below 20 seconds. Balor up for the fall with seconds to go. Under 10 seconds remaining, Cole hits Balor with the last shot to score a pinfall. As the time expires, Cole and Balor are both tied with 2 falls apiece. And we get a tie. William Regal comes out to the ring. He makes the announcement. Next week, Cole and Balor meet in a singles match to decide the next champion. And one fall to a finish. I don't necessarily believe it. People want finishes. And for a company that's been around since 1963, not to understand that if you do believe you are in a ratings war with another brand being AEW, who also has a pay-per-view this coming weekend, you give them something they can't complain about. And a match with a non-finish is something they can complain about, and it's just ignorantly stupid booking. Anyway, so next week, supposedly, we get Cole and Balor for the championship. We also get Mercedes and Ripley in a cage. So at least there'll be some good things on next week's NXT. Once again on a Tuesday. But that's that. And hopefully this review saves you some time. Until next time, keep your feet on the ground, your mind in the moment.